I'll let you go ahead and take care of letting people in, Irene.
Got it.
And let me get to our mission statement. Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents to become shining light parents by providing support and resources to aid in the healing process. We go a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and evidence for the afterlife in a non-dogmatic way. Affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and allow for open dialogue. Attendance today at the Helping Parents Heal meeting is voluntary, and we are here for the benefit of learning from and sharing with other parents whose child has passed away. It is understood that our discussions are intended to be confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers to allow parents to become informed about many ways to heal, to connect with their children, and to learn about the afterlife. The views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Helping Parents Heal, and we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. So I'm going to turn it over to you to go ahead and introduce Tom, Irene.
Great. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy to have Tom with us tonight. I'll read his bio. Tom Zuba is a life coach, author, and speaker, teaching a new way to do grief to people all over the world. Tom offers those living with the death of a loved one the tools, knowledge, and wisdom to create a joy-filled life. Tom grew up in Rockford, Illinois, with his 7 brothers and sisters. When Tom was 6 years old, his baby brother Daniel Patrick died suddenly of an undiagnosed heart defect. Danny's death was Tom's first experience with an intimate death. Tom graduated from Northern Illinois University in 1978 with a degree in special education. In 1985, Tom married Patricia Brennan in Oak Park, Illinois. 4 years later, Tom and Trish welcomed their first child, a daughter, Erin Brennan Zuba. On July 18, 1990, following a 5-day illness, Tom's 18-month-old daughter, Erin, died suddenly from Hemolytic Uremic Syndrome at Rush Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center in Chicago. Tom and Trish's son, Rory, was born 1 year later. In 1995, a second son, Sean, was born. On New Year's Day, 1999, 9 years after Erin's death, following a 52-hour hospital stay, Tom's wife died suddenly at Oak Park Hospital in Oak Park, Illinois. A few days after her death, Tom learned that his wife died from a hereditary protein C deficiency. 5 years later, the night after his second day of 7th grade, Tom's 13-year-old son, Rory, had a seizure. The next 2 months were filled with doctor visits, medical tests, and hospital stays in both Rockford and Chicago, where Rory's condition was misdiagnosed over and over again. In early November 2004, a biopsy which ended with the removal of Rory's left temporal lobe resulted in a diagnosis of glioblastoma multiforme, a terminal brain cancer. Deciding to forego the customary chemo and radiation, Tom and Rory traveled the country seeking alternate treatments. Rory died 3 months later on February 22nd, 2005. Tom now coaches clients one-on-one who are learning to live with the death of someone they love. He facilitates workshops and speaks at conferences and retreats throughout the country. He also works with social work, psychology, nursing, and medical students, as well as medical professionals, introducing them to a new way to do grief. He's the author of 2 books, Permission to Mourn and Becoming Radiant. His books have been a treasure for those of us in the grieving committee, and it is just an honor to have him here to speak with us tonight. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Irene. It is my deepest honor to be with all of you. I am going to share with you what's my truth, and I honestly believe that the people that we love, pick your word, who died, who made their transition, who passed on, those people, they brought us together tonight. And I believe that they are encircling us tonight. And two of the messages that I absolutely know they have for us, number one, and I hope you can feel it, they are saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And in the same breath, they are saying, heal. It is okay to heal. Heal, mom. Heal, dad. Heal, heal, heal. So I love that Irene read that intro. I hadn't read it or heard it in a long time. And hearing you read it, it takes my breath away. I mean, it takes my breath away. When I was 6 years old, the day after my new little baby brother's baptism, he died. I was 6. And it's interesting because this is my memory. My memory is that my dad said to me, he said, Tommy, the angels came last night and they took Danny to heaven. And I remember being furious at God and scared every single night that the angels might come and take me. Now, what's interesting is that my older sister, Mary, this is what she heard. She heard my dad say, you have an angel in heaven now who will protect and guide you. You can call to him whenever you need him. So I grew up terrorized, and my older sister grew up really, really comforted, knowing that she had a little brother in heaven. There are two very, very different truths rooted in the exact same experience. It never, ever, 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 ever occurred to me that one of my children would die. Never. My wife would say that that was her worst nightmare. She did not have a brother or sister that passed away. I did. It never occurred to me. So on July 18th of 1990, which was a long time ago, it was a different world. There was no social media. There were maybe 2 books on grief. Nobody was, I promise you, nobody was talking about a soul or an afterlife. In 1990, pretty much when you were dead, you were dead. But in 1990, my 18-month-old daughter, Erin, died. And I did not know how I would survive or believe that I would survive. We went on and had 2 kids. In 1999, on New Year's Day, my 43-year-old wife was in the hospital for 52 hours. And I was positive she would be fine because January 2nd was the anniversary of our daughter Erin's birth. It was her 10th birthday. I knew Trish wasn't, it's like, you're not gonna die on Erin's birthday. And we had plans on New Year's Eve. We had a babysitter. So I was convinced she was gonna be better by New Year's Eve. We were gonna have a great New Year's Day. January 2nd, we were gonna celebrate Erin's birthday. Trish died on New Year's Day in 1999. My kids were 3 and 7. There was something about her death. It was so unbelievable. I knew intuitively that it wasn't random. I knew it wasn't random, and I knew it wasn't a mistake. It was too explosive. I didn't know much else. As I said, my kids were 3 and 7. When I told Rory and Sean, my 3-year-old put both of his hands on my cheeks, and he said, well, Daddy, you're gonna have to be our parent now. And my 7-year-old Trish was probably dead 5 weeks. My 7-year-old, who literally was a genius, he said to me, you know, Daddy, I kind of think the womb is the portal to the soul. I said, what? He said, I think the womb is the portal to the soul. I said, I need to write that down because I think you're right. This is the same kid who, when his mom was alive, he said to us, whichever one of you dies first, when you go to heaven and meet Albert Einstein, I want you to tell him to come and visit me in a dream because I have some questions for him. So 2 days before, or 2 days after he started 7th grade, in the middle of the night, he had either a seizure or a stroke, I wasn't sure. And about 6 weeks later, he was diagnosed with a glioblastoma. They literally removed his entire left temporal lobe. And on February 22nd, he died. He died. So I had those 4 pretty traumatic, intense experiences with death. And what's really, really interesting is a year ago on April 8th, was 2 days after my dad's 88th birthday. My father died, and I was with him. And I was with him for the last 2 weeks of his life. He had Parkinson's. So he fell, and it was very, very clear that in all probability, he was getting ready to die. And his death was so beautiful, and it was so peaceful. And he and my mom are very, very, very Catholic. And minutes before he died, my mom was holding his hand, and he opened his eyes and looked directly at her. And my mom said, "Can you smell that? Can you smell that?" I couldn't, but some of the people in the room, they said the room was filled with the scent of roses. I was just staring at my dad. And he literally, his breath stopped. And my sister's a nurse, and I said, "Did Dad die?" And she said, "Yeah." My mom and dad both have always been devoted to Saint Teresa, who is known for the scent of flowers. So it was beautiful for my mom. The gift for me was I had never experienced a really peaceful, beautiful death. So for me to be able to witness that, and for me to be able to be part of that, it helped broaden my understanding of what is possible. So I consider myself a student of grief. I'm fascinated by grief. I very consciously used the words "a new way to do grief" as the subtitle to my first book. I don't believe grief is the enemy. I mean, I just don't. For me, grief has been my greatest, greatest, greatest teacher. And the more I know about grief, the more expansive my own life can be. So while I say I'm a student of grief, I'm primarily a student of life. I know that I did not come to this planet to suffer. And I know that none of you did. That's not why we came. We actually came to live really, really joyful lives. And I'll tell you, I knew I had a second book in me. I knew I did. And I closed my first book. When I first wrote these, I cringed because I'll be honest with you, I thought mothers whose children have died will crucify me. They will crucify me because what I said was, we were born to be radiant. We were born to be radiant. not in spite of the fact that our children died, but because of the fact that our children died. I was like, oh, I cannot, but I held it and I held it and I held it. And it is my truth. So I had the nerve and the audacity to title my second book, Becoming Radiant, A New Way to Do Life. So that gives you a sense of who I am. And I'm happy to be here, and I would be thrilled to take questions.
Sure. Let me take a look and see if we have any questions. I would just like to say, if you would take a few minutes to talk about something you talk about words having power. I just found that to be so very meaningful. You know, the choices of words that we use and talking. I know for myself, when I was able to now say, I have a daughter, she resides in spirit, after someone would say, do you have any children? And that gave me power. And I know in your book, you talk about words having power. And if you could just expand on that a little bit.
I do. I know for me that there is an energy behind the words that I choose to speak. It's interesting because I think it was a Helping Parents Heal group, a smaller group that I spoke to a couple weeks ago. And one of the facilitators said, they were from New Jersey, and I love New Jersey. She said, you talk really slow. And I said, I do. I mean, I do, because I believe that words have power. And I consciously choose the words that come out of my mouth because I believe they will create my feelings and they will create my experiences. Now, this is something that I learned the hard way, because I promise you, in 1990, when my daughter Erin died, I suffered and I suffered and I suffered and I suffered. I didn't know any better. So what I've come to believe is that the society we live in has created a culture around death. There's an energy around death, particularly the death of children. And it's very, very easy to, on a subconscious level, inhale that culture. And that culture includes statements which become beliefs for many, many people, like, I will never be happy again. There is a hole in my heart that will never be filled. I will never have a relationship with my child again. My child is lost forever. Even a belief like the first year is horrible, but the second year is even worse. The second year is even worse. There are other support groups that I will not name, that my hunch is some of you have gone to, where the third year is worse, and the seventh year is worse, and the 10th year is worse. If those are the words that come out of your mouth, if that's what you believe, that's what you will create. I didn't come here to suffer. I don't want to create that anymore for me. So I choose my words really, really, really carefully.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Annalie asked, did you think that your son had a sense or premonition that he was going to pass?
My son, Rory, that's a great, great, great question. And I'm going to flip it a little bit. My wife, Trish, early fall of 98, she said to me so many times, there's something the matter with me. Something isn't right. She went to the doctor. She had test after test after test after test, and everything was fine. In September, we both lived in Oak Park. This was in 1998. We were yuppies. You know, we had a public relations marketing firm. You know, I wore coat and tie every day. She dressed beautifully. She started wearing her dad's corduroy overcoat with leather patches. I remember saying, "What are you doing? We have a business meeting. Why are you wearing your dad's ratty old sport coat?" She would just say, "I think I look great in this. I can pull this off." And I feel my dad all around me. Her dad had died about 2 years earlier. That was September. October, she started wearing his raincoat in addition to the sport coat. I feel my dad everywhere. In November, she started drinking water out of a mason jar like he did. In December, she said to me, "You know, I don't feel my dad around me so much anymore, but I feel Erin. I feel Erin everywhere." And about 10 days before Christmas, she said, we were decorating her sister's Christmas tree. And she said, "Tom, there's 2 songs I want at my funeral. Oh, go Lassie, Go, and O Come Emmanuel." And I said, "I do not know why you're telling me, because I am definitely going first. So if you want those songs at your funeral, tell someone who's going to be there." 2 days after Christmas, we were driving, and she turned to me and she said, "There's 2 songs I want at my funeral. Go Lassie, Go, O Come Emmanuel." For Christmas, she gave me a stone with a Celtic symbol. She was all Irish. And on the back of the stone had the word journey. She gave me a mouse pad with my picture, Rory's picture, and Sean's picture. She's not on the mouse pad. And she brought me a book. She brought me a book of Irish Christmas songs, stories, and she wrote in it, "Dear Tom, thank you for giving me everything I ever wanted and giving it to me all over again." Now, if you said to Patricia Brennan Zuba, "Are you getting ready to die on January 1st?" she would have said no. If you would have said, "Do you want to die on January 1st?" she would have said, "No, I want to be with my children. I want to raise my children." I believe above and beyond her 5 senses, she not only knew, but she was preparing all of us, most particularly her feeble husband. So she knew. This is this thing with Rory. Rory was fascinated by time travel. He believed in parallel universes. He was fascinated by the black hole. I said to him on a number of occasions, "Are you gonna die? You know, do you think you're dying?" And he would say, "No, no, I'm not dying." And a friend afterwards said, "Well, of the 2 of you, like, who's the older soul?" He absolutely knew that there is no such thing as death. And I always knew. I never, ever, ever, ever worried about him. I worried about myself. I never worried about him. I was envious, actually, because I knew that he was going to start another adventure, on the continuum of life and the universe. So on some level, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
Thank you. Thank you. Jody's asking, what are some of the things that we can do early in grief to help with healing ourselves heal?
Number 1, open to the possibility that healing is there for you. I'm a huge believer in setting the intention. So set the intention to heal. Pay attention to the stories that you tell yourselves about what happened, about the death, about where your child is, about what your life's going to look like. Pay attention to the stories that you're telling yourself. Do not avoid pain. Do not avoid pain. Pain is a teacher. when the pain comes up, it's saying, you need to look at me, you need to look at me, because our pain is rooted in a belief that we hold. This shouldn't have happened. This isn't fair. A mistake has been made. Those are really, really painful beliefs that we hold. So when you recognize the pain, dive into it, sit with it, figure out what is that pain rooted in, and then how can you shift that? How can you shift that? Marianne Williamson defines a miracle as a shift in perception. To me, that's what this journey is about. It's like the universe is saying, it is time to grow. It is time to be expanded. It is time to become the person you came to the planet to be. Is that fun? Not always. Is it easy? Hardly ever. But boy, is it worth it. And to be surrounded by a group of parents who are moving in the same direction, that's 80% of it, I think, so that you know that you're not alone. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Patty asked, what about the need to physically touch, hug, listen to more wise words of your loved ones? They loved to hug you also. I'm concerned that he's missing out. Well, I think
that's such a beautiful question, and I really, really, really appreciate it. In the first chapter of my book, I talk about what I call life's fundamental questions. Number one, is there a God or a higher power or the Force, if you're a Star Wars fan, or nature or the all of the all? Is there that? If there is, what is it? What is it? This is what I believe. I was raised Catholic, and my joke is, as a Catholic, we knew nothing about the Bible. I mean, nothing. What I do know about the Bible is these three words: God is love. God is love. Oh, in my heart, that resonates so deeply with me. So yes, I believe there's a God. What is it? It is love. It is a divine love that is beyond my comprehension. My 18-month-old, my 13-year-old are embraced and in the presence of divine love. There is no lack in the presence of the divine love. There is no wanting. There is no needing. That is not what this magnificent, incomprehensible, beyond my ability to describe it, that's not what this love is. That's what I believe. It is a phenomenal question for you to ask over and over and over again. Search for an answer. Your answer to that question will either bring you peace or it will bring you pain. My goal is to live in as much peace as possible because I have lived in enough pain. So that's what I believe. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Carol asks, do you still have a relationship with your wife, brother, and sons? Could you tell us a little about it if you do? And if you don't, why?
I love that question. Thank you. I believe my wife and my son and my daughter planted that question in you because it's essential that I share this with you. This is what you have to realize. 2005, when my son Rory died, that was so long ago in the scheme of what we have available to us through social media, what books are out there, what conversations and discussions are being had. 2005 was the dark ages. 1999 was, prehistoric. About a week after Rory died, I woke up in the middle of the night. We were still wearing these things on our wrists called watches. Do you remember what watches were? And I looked at my watch, and it was 2:22. And Rory died on February 22nd, which is 2:22. And he was fascinated by numbers. We were always fascinated by numbers. So I was like, well, that's interesting. About a week later, I woke up in the middle of the night, checked my watch. It was 2:22. And I said, okay, I got this, I get this. You are going to let me know you are with me by the numbers 222. So that was my first concrete connection with him. And you cannot imagine how many times 222 popped up and continues to pop up. But I'm going to give you two examples. Rory died in February. That New Year's Eve, I very intentionally brought my son Sean, who was 9, to Florida, to Disney. I wanted to spend New Year's Eve with Sean at Disney because I wanted him to know that life would be good again, that we would celebrate. And as we were checking in, we stayed at one of the resorts on the Disney grounds. Welcome to Disney, Mr. Zuba. Your room is 222. Okay? A couple years later, I flew to New York to meet, many years later, I flew to New York to meet with a literary agent, which is any author's dream. I'm in Manhattan, sipping Starbucks with a literary agent who says, I love your idea. Yes, I want to represent you. I am like, there is a God and I am being taken care of. On my way home, I was in LaGuardia. I bought some coffee and I made the cashier stop because the total price was $2.22. So I took a picture and I was like, okay, Rory, thank you. I'm moving in the right direction. So this, about 5 or 6 years ago, I remember like talking to my people saying, all right, I mean, I get the 222 with Rory, but Erin, where are you? You know, Trish, where are you? And love itself bopped me in the head and said, Tom, Erin's birthday is January 2nd. Your wife Trish's birthday is May 22nd. That is 222. Do not limit your 222s to Rory. It is the three of them. And your birthday is April 2nd. So there's a connection. So that's a long way of saying, I believe that they are in front of me, behind me, on either side of me, above me, and below me. Through me tonight, you are meeting them. We are a team. I wouldn't be standing here if I wasn't supported and lovingly held and encouraged by them. So yes, they are, to say they're a daily part of my life would be an understatement.
Thank you. And if any of you are friends, Facebook friends with Tom, people are constantly taking pictures of 222 and sending it to him. You can always see it on your Facebook page. Patty just wanted you to know that she loves that you speak slowly enough for her to process what you're saying.
Thank you.
Susan is asking, wondering if Tom could speak to the idea of soul contracts and if he believes Erin, his wife and son, put him on his path to help others through their grief.
Oh, I love that question. So after my wife Trish died, I'm going to back up. We lived in Oak Park, which is a suburb of Chicago. We had a PR marketing firm. And in 1998, this woman by the name of Oprah Winfrey, she was very accessible. We could get our clients on her show. She wasn't as big as she became. So I literally watched the Oprah Winfrey show the fall of '98 every morning. It was on at 9 a.m. live. And she mentioned this guy named Gary Zukav, who wrote this book called The Seat of the Soul. She said it was the most important book she had ever read. And there was this thing called Amazon, which I had never heard of, but I ordered the book from Amazon. I read it in November. I read the whole book in November. While Trish was in the hospital, I had this voice saying to me, pay close attention. Pay close attention. You're going to tell this story to the world on the Oprah Winfrey show. I grabbed my brother Mike and I said, I just need to register with you what is happening so that I have proof. Trish died that April, 4 months later. 4 months later, I am on the Oprah Winfrey show. I'm going to read life-changing sentences from The Seat of the Soul. And I read this when Trish was alive, and I highlighted it when Trish was alive. If a child dies early in its life, we do not know what agreement was made between that child's soul and the soul of its parents, or what healing was served by that experience. Do I believe in soul contracts? I do. I do. I believe that my soul, that my son Sean's soul, that Erin, Trish, and Rory's soul, that we agreed to this. And what is most fascinating to me, I dedicated my first book to my son Sean, who I said is my greatest teacher. Sean was 3 when his mommy vanished. Sean was 9 when his comrade in life, his brother Rory, vanished. He knew his whole life that he had a sister that died before he was born. He chose me to be his dad. I believe that there are agreements that we all made. That brings me peace and comfort that this isn't random. And of the 5 of us, I believe that the oldest soul is my son, Sean. It's like, who else? Who would agree to that path? I mean, I'm an interesting soul. It's like, I have many, many questions, when I cross over and reconnect, but yeah, I do. It brings me a lot of peace and comfort. Great question. Thanks for asking it.
How does Sean, that's interesting that, how is your son dealing with everything, and how old is he today?
So my son is 25. He's 25. I cannot imagine what it must have been like for your mommy to be there one day and not the next when you're 3. And like I said, I can't imagine what it would be like to see your brother die from brain cancer. My goal was to create a safe space for Sean. Like I said, life prepares us for life. And prior to Rory's death, I was getting certified in something called expressive arts for healing. And the professor is this fascinating woman, Natalie Rogers, whose father is the world-renowned psychologist, Carl Rogers. So Natalie literally prepared me for Sean's death and to take care of Rory. And what Carl Rogers teaches and what I teach is that when we are in a safe, sacred space where we can feel all of our feelings, where we can be loved and lovable, and we're seen, heard, and honored, we will heal. We will heal. That's the space I created for Sean. I wanted him to know that he was always, 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 always loved, and that his dad always, always, always had his back. It was not easy. It was not easy. It wasn't easy when I went to juvenile detention center to pick him up in middle school. It wasn't easy when he got arrested for a DUI his freshman year in college. In high school, he would say to me very calmly, "Dad, you and I have never been friends. We're never going to be friends. We're hardly even related. We have nothing in common. And as soon as I graduate from high school, I'm going to get as far away from you as I possibly can, and I'll probably never see you again." I knew that's what he needed to try to create for himself, because why would he emotionally attach to the only family member left? All the other family members disappeared on him. I held space for him. I held space for him. I want to reiterate, he said, we have nothing in common. We're so different. I started out as a special ed teacher. My son Sean at 25 lives with me. He is a special ed teacher. He absolutely loves it. So he is confident, he is independent, he is sensitive, he is kind, and he's the kid that all of his friends go for advice. Now, when I say I get to believe what I believe and you get to believe what you believe, I mean that. I made a conscious decision not to send Sean to Catholic school. I made a conscious decision. We did not go to church. Sean does not believe in God. And at 25, Sean believes when you're dead, you're dead. That is what my 25-year-old son must believe today in order to survive. I get that. I get that. And I'm fine with that. So the road hasn't been easy, but boy, has it been worth it. It's been worth it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Jill asks, she said, I'm 9 years in this journey. I feel as if my life is destroyed. What can I do about this? I don't know how much we can cover, but you can certainly give her some tips maybe.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you that you feel like your life is destroyed. Your child brought you here tonight to listen to me. I believe that. Step number 1 is to change your language. I wish I didn't believe that my life was destroyed. I wish I could start believing that my life isn't destroyed. Oh, it would be kind of cool if actually my life isn't destroyed. Some of those people there don't look like their life is destroyed. Maybe my life isn't destroyed. That's where you start. You start by changing the story, changing the words, because your words have power. This I know for sure, and my friend Gary Zukav taught me this. All you have, we have free will. I honestly believe we have free will. You have to lean in a little bit, just a little bit. From my life is destroyed, maybe it's not destroyed. Lean in a little bit, and the universe, your child who you love, they rush in like a wave and they start you on this journey. You have to begin. I could talk for a weekend about this, but that is where you begin.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Deb asks, can you share if you had any pushback from your family members from writing books, about writing books?
My hunch is I am probably not the only one who has experienced this. I have 6 living brothers and sisters. They rarely, if ever, acknowledge that I have a daughter that died, a wife that died, or a son that died. I think they wish I would shut up and sit in the corner. I make them really, really, really uncomfortable because of who I've become. Now, my mom is 87, and there's no coincidences here. My mom was a hospital chaplain working in oncology and ICU. So my mom is mesmerized by who I've become, loves my books. And before the pandemic, I said, just ask my mom for a book. She'll give you one for free. My mom's handing them out everywhere. And my father, the greatest gift my father ever gave me, the last 3 or 4 years of his life, over and over and over again, he would say, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Oh, you're doing amazing, amazing work. So, I received that gift from my parents. Now, I believe that I chose this group as my siblings to teach me kindness and acceptance and forgiveness and no expectations, and to help me really, really expand and define what love is. Like many, many, many families, my family's weird.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Maria asks, do you recognize your wife and children's birth and angel dates now? Do you do anything special on the dates?
Oh, I love that question. So this is really interesting. Friday, May 22nd. This was this last Friday. My wife would have been 65 years old if she was still on this planet. I'm only 63. Tricia's 65th birthday. That brought me so much joy and laughter because it's not even that I thought, oh, I would like to be teasing her, or I would like to be ribbing that she's 65. It wasn't that. It was like, I'm doing that. I'm doing that in the present moment. So our 35th wedding anniversary was April 27th, and I did this for that as well. I said on my Facebook page, I know that Tricia and I would have planned a huge 65th party. It would have been huge with all the bells and the whistles. And you all would have been invited. Because of the pandemic, we would have had a virtual party. So I am going to have a virtual party, and you're all invited. And I probably shared 25 photographs. It was so freeing for me. And when I did it for our wedding, I tagged people that I haven't heard from in years. And I heard from them, oh, it was such a beautiful day. It was such a beautiful day. So I would, as long as this pandemic goes on, I give you guys permission to do that. If there's an anniversary, have a virtual celebration and invite everybody on your Facebook page to come. That's number one. over the years, it varies. I mean, it really, really varies. I find the day that they died less, I don't put as much emphasis on that. And I'll tell you why. This is a gift that my wife gave me. When our daughter Erin died, she said, this was in 1990 again. Trish said, we are going to focus on Erin's life. She lived. She came, she was loved, she loved us, and then she left. We're not going to focus on her death. We're going to celebrate her life. And her birthday was January 2nd. We always celebrated her birthdays. So I lean more towards the day that they came into my life. And I honor and respect the transition dates because I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't have become who I've become without those three really, really significant dates.
Thank you. That's great.
So I would say I honor them.
Roseanne, who is one of our affiliate leaders, wants you to know that she gives the book Permission to Mourn to each new grieving parent that she meets. It's a powerful and yet easy to digest for newly grieving parents.
Thank you, Roseanne. I want to share something with you. Oh, thank you, Susan. This is the truth. This is the truth. When I was writing that book, I set the intention every day that I wrote, and I said, let me tap into all of the people who will read this book throughout the ages. Let me tap into their energy and allow them to pull through me what they need to hear, what they need to read. So I honestly believe that every single person who has read that book and who has been touched by that book, you helped birth that book. You helped birth that book. And I thank you for that. It's our book. I'm telling you, I will open it up and I'll read it and I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever read. Where did this come from? It's like, who wrote this? That's the truth of where that book came from.
Thank you. Elizabeth, did we have any questions that anybody, Elizabeth opened it up to people that weren't going to be able to be on tonight. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to ask. You're still muted.
Unmute myself.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a few questions. One of them is, Rhonda asked, if heaven is all around us, are our loved ones free from their earthly disease and made whole?
If you've been listening to me, I believe you know the answer, but I will share the answer. This is what I believe. I believe heaven is being in the presence of the divine. Heaven is being in God's presence. Where is God? There is no place that God is not. There is no place that God is not. Heaven is everywhere. Does this little brain comprehend that? Not completely. So this is what I believe. We have 24/7 access to God and to our beloveds. There is no suffering. There is no lack. There is no need. There is no pain. There is complete, glorious wholeness. That's what I believe.
I am just so thankful and so grateful for the way that you speak, because it's all truth. And there's another person, Rhonda, who says, your book is great. My physician only told me that I'd feel amputated for life. It's a breath of fresh air. What a terrible way to feel. And obviously you don't feel that way, Tom.
Amputated? If I did, I promise you I wouldn't be here. I would have killed myself. And I wrote about it in my book. You know, there were times along this journey where I did consider suicide. I did. today on May 27th of 2020? I promise you, no, no, no.
That's beautiful. And then also it's interesting. Carol is asking, do you cry anymore? Which I kind of plays into that as well. Do you ever feel sad?
You know, I love crying. I mean, I love crying. I'm a huge, huge fan of crying. Crying is a concrete, tangible sign that we are healing. Crying means I'm healing. Crying means I'm healing. I have sobbed and I have wailed and I have gnashed my teeth. I have done all of that. Honestly, do I cry now because Trish died or because Rory died or because Erin died? I don't. Do I get sad? Yeah. I mean, there are moments when I get sad. You know what? I have to be so careful because I don't want to create a sad future. There are moments that I'm sad. And when I am sad, I sit with the sadness and I try to figure out, what am I hooking into that's causing the sadness? Is that true or isn't that true? This is what I was going to say. You can see me growing right in front of you. My nephew is getting married on January 1st of 2021. No, wait. No, he's getting married on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve of 2020. How do I feel about that? I'm going to sit with that. I'm going to sit with that. Where will Trish be? Where will Rory be? Where will Erin be? If I want, I can take them with me. I can be aware of their presence. It can be a day of celebration. That's one option. If I fall asleep and operate from a subconscious cultural belief level, that could be a miserable day where I'm resenting the fact that they're happy and I'm not happy. So I'm going to choose my words carefully and I'm going to consciously step into that and I'm going to create the experience that I want to create.
That's beautiful. Well, tell me something. I know that you said that Sean had a hard time and now he's found his way and he's doing so well. Does he feel Rory, Erin, and your wife with him? Do you ever talk to him about maybe seeing them or speaking to them? I mean, I would assume that he's even more in tune to all of them than you are since he's a sibling. What do you think? Do you ever get to talk about that?
So my son, Sean, I live 90 minutes from Chicago and I always said to him, we need to enroll you in Second City so you can take stand-up comedy classes because he has listened to me, he has read my books, he's observed me, he can do a stand-up routine of his dad. Sean could give this presentation with my mannerisms, so he intellectually, he knows all of it, but he's at a place right now, he thinks his dad is nuts. He's like, 222, that's just a coincidence. Oh, that is so stupid. And that's where he needs to be. That's where he needs to be. I think when he gets married, when he has his own children, you know, when he feels safe with another human being and maybe he can be more vulnerable. To answer your question, we talk about this all the time and his response is always the same. I think you're nuts.
Yes, and I think that we have that from a lot of our kids as well. But I do think that he's probably experiencing a lot more than you realize, which is really interesting. And not only that it's helping him. He's growing from all of these experiences.
Absolutely. This is one of the things he does know. His mother worshiped him. She thought his feet were so beautiful, and he had the most beautiful elbows, and his cheeks. He knows that. So on some level, he's got to know that she's not going to abandon him. The other night when we celebrated his mom's birthday, we watched a video. I intentionally found video of the two of them together. He was only 3, so he could see her with her arm around him. It's interesting because for Rory's memorial service, I had a slide presentation made. Every single picture, one of them has their arm around the other. It was really clear. It was like, I was an add-on. It was the two of them, and I was over in the corner, like preparing food and cleaning their underwear. But it was the two of them. So yes, I agree with you completely. Yes, they are a huge presence.
That's beautiful. And then also, I'm interested about this question. How do you deal with your friends and relatives who ignore your grief and talking about it? Have you found yourself finding a whole different friend group, really, from the way that you initially had friends? Or are you still able to really, I know it sounds like your family is kind of on the fence, your parents are really supportive, maybe your siblings not quite so much, but did you kind of gravitate to more people who understood the afterlife and who were able to understand what you were talking about?
So, unlike a lot of you, perhaps, this is my work, so I work with clients every single day all over the world, and this is what we are talking about. I'm very active on my Facebook page. This is what I talk about. So, number one, yes, I have a precious, loving, so supportive group of friends that, lift me up. But I'll be honest, I also have friends, and I really, really like this. Like, I have friends that I work out with, and that's what's been really hard about the pandemic, because I haven't worked out in 2 months. But I have a group of really, it's not a deep, deep, deep friendship, but it's a fun friendship where we work out together. We might go out on a Friday night for some drinks, for dancing. They're slightly aware, oh, I think there's some dead people in his life, and I don't know, maybe he wrote a book. And I like that. It's kind of refreshing that that's not the focus of, the time. It gives me a break, kind of, the time I get to spend with them. What is a challenge for me? I'll be really, really honest. Can you imagine, like, if I'm at a cocktail party, with some people I know, some people I don't know, and everyone has a drink in their hand and we're all making chit chat, and someone says, "Oh, is your wife here?"
Yeah.
"Oh no,
Yeah.
she passed away." "Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you have any kids?" "Well, yeah." And then it's like, which direction do I move in? "Well, yes, I do. I have 3 children." "Oh, well, what do they do?" "Well, my son's 25, my daughter died, and my son died." They're going to take their drink and make a beeline for somewhere else. So I proceed cautiously so that I can take care of myself.
Well, Tom, I felt when my 2 children passed that I really wanted to, the second one, I wanted to move to an island where only parents who had had children pass lived, because I felt that those were the only people who would get it. And it was a very difficult question when people would ask those things. So I do find myself with a lot of friends who are the way that we are, and they're all such, I consider them to be my family. And it's nice to be able to do things with other people, but it's true, it makes it a little bit more awkward. And you've obviously navigated it very well, which is good. There are a bunch of other questions. I don't want to hog the questions, though. Irene, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Tom if it would be okay, because as you can see, as with your first book, your second book is filled with sticky, because I love certain passages and they're great when you want to just open up. But what you talk about, that this is not the end, would that be okay? Would you share that? It's
Is that in the second book?
Becoming Radiant. Yeah, page 74. Just that page. I think it's just incredible. And I really think it would be helpful to everyone. And they can get an idea, if they don't have your book, your writing style.
Yeah. So it's page 74. Yeah. Wow. This took me a while to get here, you guys. This is not the end. If you are reading these words, you are part of the tribe that has come to the planet at this time in history to change the way we do grief. You are learning that the death of your loved one is not the end. It is the beginning of a new way of being for you. And that new way of being includes a new relationship with the person you love, who finished all the work he came here to do, left her physical body and returned home. The relationship continues. It does not matter if he was here for 1 minute, 1 day, 6 years, 32 years, 101 years. It does not matter if her precious body was never actually born alive. The relationship continues. The essence of who I am and the essence of who you are is eternal. I believe that. And that belief allows me to be here today.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. I'm not sure. It's about 10 after 9. Do you have a few minutes, or are you ready to wrap it up? It's up to you.
I'm here.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity
Okay.
to speak with you all.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, Jess asked a great question. Tom, in your opinion, is it possible to get stuck in grief?
The energy of the word stuck doesn't feel true to me. I believe this was a gift from the divine. I believe that our body is our God-given barometer. And when we can get anchored in our body, which is really, really hard for most of us, particularly after someone we love dies. But when I can get anchored in my body, when I'm present here and now, my heart knows what is true. My heart recognizes truth. And a perfect example of that is, put a 5-year-old at a family reunion, they know who to gravitate to. They know the cool, friendly, loving relatives, and they know the relatives to stay away from. We're born with that tool. So to me, it doesn't really resonate that we're stuck. I have come to believe that we are exactly where we need to be in order to survive. We're trying to survive. Wherever you are, have mercy on yourself. That's where you need to be. And if you're hearing these words and you used to say, hey, I think I might be stuck, if you change that and you greet what you perceive as stuckness with kindness and gentleness and tenderness and understanding, then a shift has occurred, because you are on the road to becoming a kind, gentle, understanding, compassionate person. So don't resist what is. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, The Power of Now, When I resist what is, I am making the present moment my enemy. I'm waging war with life. Don't beat yourself up. Wherever you are is exactly where you need to be to survive. Take the next step from where you are. Lean into, hey, I wish I believed I could heal. So that word doesn't resonate with me anymore.
Great, thank you. Vidisha asks, Tom, you're amazing to hear as always. Your positivity and calmness is amazing and very reassuring. I can get through this too. Please share your tips on how do we get through the really low phases that make you feel that you can't breathe and you can't make it through.
Exactly what I just said. Honor the low phase. Rest in the low phase. I love that low phase, because low phase implies there's a high phase. Honor it. Meet it with kindness. Meet it with gentleness. Meet it with compassion. I want you to really, really hear what I'm saying. Become kindness. Become gentleness. Become compassion. I don't see all of you, but I see mothers. You are innately, I'm not suggesting that you become anything that you weren't to your children. Okay, here we go. Mother yourself the way you mothered your child when they were in their physical body. Mother yourself the way you wish you could physically mother your child. Hold on to that. That is the step, that's the path. And you can do it. I promise you, you can do it.
Right. Elizabeth, did I miss any questions? Have you scrolled through to see?
I think it's really nice to just read what Rhonda says. Letting go of grief feels like you are abandoning your loved one. New intention needed. Your optimism is contagious. So obviously it is important to understand that it's okay. We're not forgetting them. We're bringing them with us every step of the way. They're holding our hands. They are with us at every single special moment, just as you were saying earlier. And they are so excited to see us happy. So not that they expect us to be happy right away, but they really would love to see us happy. And so for you to be able to explain that and to be so upbeat and positive and to say it in such simple language as well is really beautiful. Thank you for doing that, Tom.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions for Tom, or possibly would you like to just wrap up, Tom, with a few words for all of the parents here at Helping Parents Heal that have been hanging on your every word?
Yeah. So I'm gonna I have to flip to, I wanna see every single person here. Okay. I firmly believe that our children brought us together tonight. They have many messages, but two of the messages I'm clear about is that your child loves you beyond your comprehension. And your child knows that you did not come to this planet to suffer. Your child is not suffering. Your child left their physical body once. This is what I believe. And I've had many, many people confirm this. This God that I believe in yanked your child out of his or her body, lovingly yanked, before the bullet went off, before the car crashed, before whatever it is happened. Your child was lovingly yanked. Where your child is, he or she has no memory of it. None, none. How many of us kill our children over and over and over and over again? You don't have to do that. You can do it if you want, but you don't have to do that. You did not come here to suffer. You didn't come here to suffer. It's so interesting because people will say, oh, you know, Trish and Rory and Erin don't want you to suffer, Tom. Very early in my journey, I'm like, I don't really care what they want because I know they are not suffering. I don't want to suffer because I don't want to suffer. I want to live for me, for me, for me. Your children are your biggest fans, your biggest cheerleaders. Let them be your guides. Ask them questions, listen, trust. We didn't come here to suffer. We came to be radiant. This is what I will end with. In the front of my first book, I think 8 different authors that are, you know, my powerful teachers. And one is a woman by the name of Debbie Ford, who died a couple years ago from cancer. And what she said, I love this. She said, and I'm going to say it to you, whatever you see in me, whatever any of you see in me, the only reason you can see it is because it exists in you too. It exists in you too. What you see in me is you. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be able to see it. You wouldn't be able to see it. So years ago, I saw the Dalai Lama. I actually got to meet him, shake his hand, look in his eyes. And he said, you Americans have lost hope. He said, you have lost hope. And that's why the suicide rate continues to soar in your country. And I immediately said to myself, I want to become hope. I want to embody hope. My prayer, my intention, and my hope is that you have received hope from me tonight. Thank you for.
Thank you so much. And can you share with everyone, I know you have a Facebook page and you've been doing a daily message on Facebook, is that correct?
Yeah, so I have 2 Facebook pages, but I'm moving everything out of my personal page because that's limited to only 5,000 people. So my Facebook page, it's called Tom Zuba Teaches a New Way to Do Grief. And all you have to do is like it. And starting June, this is really cool. Starting June 1st, I mean, I will continue. I do a daily Facebook Live, you know, where I chat with folks. But my friend Anna, who is a radiologist in Minnesota, she's going to read 1 chapter from this book every single day. So you'll have access to that too.
It's great. Thank you so much.
That
It was a
sounds
wonderful meeting.
Thank you so much. And I am so excited because I know that everyone's going to go away from here looking for those 222s that happen in their lives, which is very important, that lead us forward, not just to show us signs, but also to help us along the way and show us where we're supposed to be going. So we need to develop those signs with our kids and be able to understand them and have them lead us in the direction that we need to go. And Irene, is it okay if we unmute everyone and have them say thank you and goodbye to Tom? And thank you so much, Tom. This was wonderful. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and
thank you,
everybody
Tom.
unmute.
That was great.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you
Tom.
very much.
Thank
This
you.
was really wonderful.
Good night to
Thank you,
everybody.
Tom.
That was awesome.
Tremendous.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take good care of
Great
yourself.
meeting.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Irene.
Oh,
No,
thank
you're
you.
welcome. Thanks for
so
being
much.
here.
So glad you're here.
Yes.
Glad you got on, Lisa.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, me
You're
too.
welcome.
Oh, goodness. It's so nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Tom. That was amazing.
Come back again.
Hi, everyone.
Amazing.
That's
Thank
Galen. I hear her.
Thank you,
Yes.
Irene. Thank you,
Yay,
Lisa.
love you.
Love you
Galen.
too.
So much.
Bye,
It's
guys.
incredible. Thank you.
That was
Enjoy your night,
particularly
everybody.
good one.
Thank you so